All right. After a small break, we are back with another lower bracket match, actually. Ukraine versus Thailand. Team that got seed 11, being Thailand against Ukraine. Seed 16 should be a very close match on paper. And today, my name is Philoxen. I will be your first caster for the match. And I'm also joined by Atomy1. Hello. And how's the mood?
Hey, I mean, I'm quite excited for this match as well, right? Because as you mentioned before, it might be one of the closest ones, at least for this Saturday, right? I feel like there is at least some potential for incredible pop-off, for incredible actual performances, team scores produced from both the sides, but it kind of really is going to be dependent on the day, how they are feeling, how they are looking, and well, I am quite excited to actually find it out, especially as the bonds are a little bit undecided, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I feel like for Thailand is a bit more distinct strategy. They came here from the Japan match, beat them 6-2. They were mostly picking gimmicks and control maps, so I feel like they're gonna abuse the same strategy right here. While Ukraine, they try a lot of different things in their four previous matches that we have seen. So gonna be a really tricky one. We will just see, depending on those bans in this match, what maps both countries do not really like. And so far, there's double ban from Ukraine on DT3 and HD2. So gimmicks as well as tapping mechanics, the DT3 being a stamina pick, is now out of the table. Same for Thailand, by the way. DT2, not so stamina heavy map, but still tapping mechanics, more finger control heavy. More, I would say, like kind of mental draining. Both DT tapping maps are now out, so we're probably not going to be seeing a lot of tapping action in this match, which is quite an interesting thing. Maybe those two teams did not really need to ban those maps.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting to see. Especially considering that it seems like at least this week there was quite a lot actually of DT1, DT2, DT3 bans, right, coming. So I'm interested to see if it is going to be changing anytime, for example, at Sunday. But yeah, at the very least, it is how it is. We still have at least one kind of tapping related map still in the pool, like Fremont 3, right? I'm not even going to be talking about number 2. It's a lot of flow, not as
Oh my
much
god.
pure tapping, but it seems like, oh yeah, DT is really out of the question this match as well. And honestly, I am even a bit more surprised because at the very least in the qualifiers, if I'm remembering correctly, Ukraine had quite a nice score on those DT1. So maybe this time around it's just that this particular map is not really feeling great for them.
I mean, this DT1, some commentators might put into, more actually tapping heavy category right here. It has 270 BPM bursts. This one also quite similar to the one we saw last week, which also had 240 BPM A mechanics with some burst that caught so many players off guard. And considering this one is higher BPM, we already saw a bunch of really unfortunate breaks. Some people not having the best time of their lives and the tapping aspect of DT1. So overall, tapping mechanics and the DT mod pool at all, something they don't want to go into. I feel like overall, that is a very unique selection of bands right here, Tommy. The only skill set that is, different from those tapping mechanics is HD2. Some of the Thailand, I would give them, an overall upper hand on gimmicks. But besides that, I feel like Ukraine and Thailand, they both are quite strong. They pick pretty much same things, those being, control, consistency, and that will definitely make this match quite a coin flip, in my opinion. That is just a prediction from me. We will see if this actually turns out to be that. But the first pick is already quite an intriguing one. No mod 1, Tommy.
Oh wow, that's a start and a half. I'm going to be excited to see that for sure, but especially as after, if you might remember it, the map itself, right? The song is a bit of a known around here, right? It was a different maps. It was custom for the WC 2024 Grand Finals, also as number one, and later has appeared in the COE 24 as number one as well.
Yep.
So just a lot of history, a lot of just generally love for the song, for the map from the players and in this tournament or in general. And honestly, this time around, this custom, I guess the custom, I could say that, is also quite interesting to watch, right? Because it is pretty much unrelentless, right? The biggest problem is that you will not have any point to catch your breath, right? On this map, you have to just keep going and going for the whole duration, and it might just trip someone up.
Yeah, exactly. That is about it. The BPM as well being 226, only adding fuel to the fire. And yeah, we did see this one being played at COU only one. You did your homework really well here. And overall, depending on who wins this one, they will most likely will have a slight upper hand on the same set Freeman one, for example, because it's also awkward aim, as well as this Nomad one, and the BPM is quite similar here and there. And usually, when Nomad one is being won by either of the teams, what we saw in previous matches, Freeman one actually gets picked pretty much all the time, and the same team wins that. So. Very interesting map to just test the waters right here, and considering both teams are quite consistent, that's definitely gonna be a challenge, and I have to try and get the first point on the board for either of those, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very fun to watch indeed when the map will actually start while players are getting ready, getting into their respective slots. And honestly, I'm quite interested to see what are the final rosters, and it seems like we are finally going to be seeing them, right? Irona, Max, Kiro Brach, and Evil Boner coming out from Ukraine is a bit different from what I would personally expect, but from Thailand, South Bunny, R3, Chess, and PPKM, it's quite expected, right? You love to see those players facing off for you in any tournament, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Look in particular at R3, this guy is one of the strongest players in the tournament. Got seed 3 by individual stats and overall qualifiers, so definitely the anchor for Team Thailand. Let's see if the carry here will be enough, or will Ukraine be able to actually match that. They have some really good aim players. Also, the prodigy of Ukraine, Cooler Bry, is here. Remember playing 5WC2026, and now improving like that. We'll see how this goes. The first map of Ukraine versus Thailand. Off we go. Best of luck to both teams. 2 minutes 30 seconds of very, very dense aim at 226 BPM. Let's see who has the juice to win this one. So far, break from 1max and PBKM.
Yeah, not looking great, but at the release it is pretty much straight. We are still at a stalemate, at least at the intro of this map, but surprise, surprise, the intro is not going to be stopping anytime soon. It is just, again, just from the start to the finish, the constant threat of jumps that are just getting thrown around that you have to get through is going to be a biggest challenge of this map, and 1max is just not able to keep up. Fortunately for them, there is still some players that are going to be matching his performance. PPKM finally miss together with Softbunny and Chess, actually giving finally some kind of a common advantage towards the Team Ukraine.
Yeah, well, Chess was a banter break, but Softbunny was a real one, so still 2 versus 3. Ukraine right now is in the driver's seat. They're still in a very fragile state, because 1FC down and Thailand will be back in the game, and there comes one from Irama. Not what you want to see. Chess, however, does trade it out, which allows Ukraine to still take the initiative in the first map of this match. Everyone holding 99% accuracy is very comfortable on this map. It's just a question of how long can they hold the combo. We're only halfway through the map, but the map is quite dense. It's not gonna stop whatsoever. The last half is not easier by all the means.
And it seems like, at least for now, it is working out great for Ukraine. The combo advantage is just ballooning little by little, as you're seeing that the misses are not really coming through enough for Ukraine, for Taiwan to actually take an advantage of it, especially as we are going to be seeing even more coming in from the sides of Money, finally getting traded by a big combo from the side of Ukraine. Evil Boner going down together with the score advantage, which will be shrinking bit by bit as long as Taiwan is able to just hold the gas pedal down, but they need to continue doing what they are doing. PPKM is just not able to continue, while Brach is actually going down from Ukraine, and it seems like the opportunity is here, at least for a little bit, as long as Ars is the one that is holding that combo, holding the advantage, building the score for his team. But unfortunately for him, it seems like there is just not enough of opportunity. The other team is performing just a bit over their edge to jump out, or as more and more misses actually coming through. But is there going to be enough combo left in the map? Seems like that is not going to be an easy race. Just finding breaks while 1max trading it 100k, going down. Is he going to be able to do it? No! 75k is still enough. Ukraine built enough an advantage into the middle to bring it home as a first point towards this match.
Ours was literally stepping on Ukraine's tail till the very end. 4,100 FC. A very sharp score right here, but Ukraine, the team power was just stronger here, the team synergy. Very, very risky move, but it did work out, and it's always good to have one of those coin flip maps on your side winning this one. They will definitely need to think twice, though, before maybe trying to go pick into another XX1 slot, the consistency. Because Thailand definitely can compete with that. So it's up to them, it's up to Ukraine to just decide whether they will want to double down on the aim slots or try to think of some other angle of the attack. But that is still an open question right here. It's now up to Thailand. And tell me, I am eyeing one particular map right here just solely because of that AG2 band. I wanted to say Nomad 5, but I guess Primo 2 also works. It's another gimmicky map, not so reading heavy, but it's anti-mode, custom from Nick.
Yeah, that's honestly a fun one. I also was kind of looking at the Nomad pool from the Thailand to get just the ball rolling, the momentum going for them, but it seems like they are not going to be needing that. Fremont 2 is just a piece that is going to be signing that they're feeling actually extremely confident, right? And considering that it is, as you mentioned previously, anti-mode, a custom from Nick, it is just always fun to watch, right? Previously, in the last match that I have casted, I have seen just a lot of buffoonery with the easy modes, right, coming from players. I believe it was 3 easy modes and 1 hard rock from one of the teams, but it's always fun to watch, right? Some kind of an over mode. Let's see if it's going to be the case here as well, because honestly, I feel like Thailand has a lot of potential to actually pull some of the over modes on.
Indeed. I'm in particular looking at the easies. Thailand are pretty good when it comes to gimmicks, and they also show that they're quite proficient when it comes to the easy mods. They did double easy on Fremont 2 in group stage. It was Sold Money and easy artifacts, so if they are in, it's almost guaranteed that they will play with easy. I also did see that some people said that this Fremont 2 is quite accessible when it comes to the easy modifications, so will be really fun to see from Thailand, because so far that strategy has been working out for them. Let's see if they'll be able to put up that fight with easy alongside them on one of the later stages, because quarterfinals the difficulty did increase, but I do not think they will be seeing those troubles with easy, considering TC Artifacts is here one of the gimmick players. So yeah, overall it's as mentioned, a custom from Nick. It does feature a bunch of those full bursts, as well as control, as well as really nasty actually aim patterns in the second half of the map. We saw so many strong teams find breaks in the second half of the map, so quite a challenging one. We're seeing the lineups from Ukraine and Thailand. For Thailand, as mentioned, more gimmick-focused lineup. For Ukraine, I'm actually betting on Hard Rocks. Yeah, we're seeing double Hard Rock from Chrono 4G and Cooler Bra. There is one easy on Evil Balner, but you look at Thailand, and there is 2 of those from TC Artifacts and Soft Bunny as predicted. So, very interesting lineups right here.
Yeah, I feel like in this direction, it feels like Hard Rocks are going to be pretty much the cornerstone, the deciding factor on who will be winning a point on this map, right? And considering the map itself that, as you mentioned, has a lot of just different stuffs, different skills that you have to conform to, right? It even has some of the rhythm gimmicks that you have to get through. Of course, albeit not as hard as one might expect, but still something to strip up on when you are getting through those aim patterns. And so far it seems like all of the people that are playing this map are doing fine enough, finally getting some first breaks coming from Iroma and Cobra.
Yeah, it is not good. The Irma is that no-mod anchor that needs to be countering ours. Ours is holding right now. So Bunny and Salvatore, however, are finding a double break. Same for Evil Balner. It is now 2SCs in the side of Thailand. Cooler Brad did fire and break earlier on. It's just the hard carry on Chrono 4G right now, also known as Criterion. But we know how shaky Criterion might get at the end of the map, so it cannot last that long. He will need to pull himself together if he wants to keep holding. So far, the hope is still here for a break point, but Thailand is looking quite steady.
Yeah, definitely seems like they are in the driver's seat as long as they're just able to hold that combo, but it seems like that is not going to be the case. Double break coming in from Salvatore and the artifact is going to be breaking that combo advantage back to towards the side of the Ukraine, but it seems like it has been an explosion at quadruple miss, quadruple combo break coming in from Taiwan, while Ukraine is still able to produce and get the score up and running for the side, looking to get the first break point of this match right on this 3-2 and doing everything they can to secure that, as Evil Boner, the only easy from the side of Ukraine, is still holding incredible combo, finally going down, but that was more than enough to secure a 250k score advantage.
Yeah, it's just up to Cooler Brad, the only 500 combo recovery at the end, who managed to hold almost through everything, just breaking at the very end. The first point, Cooler Brad, first time playing 4WC, and now is punishing Thailand for that pick. Thailand thought that they would have the gimmick advantage, but no. Ukraine managed to tug it through and get a second point. That's a great momentum for the beginning of the match. 600k score from Chrono 4G and almost 600k from Cooler Bra. Very strong Hard Rock showing right here. That might also open some opportunities into, the Hard Rock mod pool as well for Ukraine now, especially looking at Hard Rock 2 looking quite appetizing.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it is going to be the case, at least in my opinion. Especially, I feel like Thailand is going to be quite scared from this point onward, because if we are going to be looking closely at the scoreboard, it seems like even the easy players did perform worse than the only easy player from the side of Ukraine, Evil Boner getting the top score on this modification, but still quite an interesting idea of what they want to continue down, which roles they want to take, right? Because again, Hard Rock is pretty much what they want to go for, right? But the question, which one, right? Because we still have, for example, something more accessible, kind of, right? A normal type of aim on the Hard Rock 1. We have a bit more of a precision 6.5 CS, but a bit more flowy thing on the Hard Rock 2. And, well, Hard Rock 3 is always something quite interesting to watch. And with overall
mention.
yeah, that's... I'm not even going to continue the thought into this world, but even if they don't really want to go into Hard Rock 3, doesn't feel exactly warm yet, they still have maps like 3 right? To try to get some of that overall tapping mechanics back into the game, right? Just warm up and pretty much break their neck onto another 3 possibly getting an advantage on that Hard Rock again. Maybe one of the ideas to go for.
Yeah, you could definitely try that. So far, it's just entirely up to them whether they want to double down on what's already been working out. For example, the consistency maps, or try some other free mod map, because free mod 2 was a victory, so could be that. But yeah, I am definitely eyeing that Hard Rock pool as a whole. Ukraine overall is more known as a Hard Rock preference team right here. That was shown on that free mod 2 as well, with double Hard Rocks, and those scores with Hard Rocks were the top scores, so it would make sense. Seems like they're taking a bit though to determine the next pick. I mean, that's fair enough. They really need a very, very solid, very confident pick right here to make it 3-0, because there's a huge difference between having 3 points advantage over your opponent than having 2-1 outcome and giving Thailand an opportunity to get a second point on board and actually equalize the match score. So for the process for Ukraine, they really cannot make a mistake right here, because a break point so early into the match is something you do not want to lose.
Yeah, it's just going to be a mental advantage to continue from, and it seems like we are going to be seeing one of the maps to get another point on Hard Rock 3 is on the table, and that is... Let's just enjoy just enjoying Whimsy that we're going to be seeing on the Hard Rock 3, right?
I can't believe this. Out of all the Hard Rocks, it's Hard Rock 3 that's getting picked, the shortest map in the pool. That is the entire reason why I have that reaction. This map, it has been played in yesterday's match between Poland and Taiwan. It has been played in the recent match that I cast with Felicia, and both times this map just had so many plot twists within that 1 minute and 30-second frame because it is quite RNG. That is the main point. Yes, I still think that on paper Ukraine has it in the bag, considering Thailand overall. We did see a couple of hard luck bans from them, and their statistics and qualifiers and hard luck maps weren't quite as prominent as Ukraine's. So it should be their point, but the drain, you never know. You never know with that drain who the point will be given to.
Yeah, it's always a question on this type of map, and honestly, I feel like it is not even us advantages towards the Ukraine, at least on paper, as it might look like, because, for example, Thailand is generally quite well versed on something a bit more awkward, right? A bit more unusual, be it something like normal 3 also, be it something more techy, right? And this Halo 3 is kinda stepping into the territory, right? Even just considering that we are taking the requirement to the extreme, right? The 30 plus node just continuous control patterns that you have to get through will just be something that we are going to be seeing breaks one way or another, right? I am not expecting any FCs, right? But still, it's a bit more coin flippy than one might think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do see that also, considering Thailand is pretty good when it comes to overall control. We did see them opt into, for example, snap ult in group stage in round of 16 being 3-4. And here it's also snap ult, just with hard rock. You already mentioned really constant snap ult patterns, some of the hardest, and even if you hit those, there is a big ass slider at the almost like 20 seconds before the ending of the map that is quite hard to hit. We see so many players actually drop combo on that one, even though they were able to hold before that. Yeah, here we are. There is no time to explain because every miss will matter from now on, considering the drain of this map. Seeing the lineups here, the accuracy is slightly struggling inside of Team Thailand. Here come a bunch of strategical misses actually from South Money and Chrono 4G, but shouldn't be too shabby as it's a trade and the map has just started.
Yeah, it is not as casual as the song suggests from the Mario Party. It is just pretty much a competitive situation, as we are going to be seeing more and more misses just ballooning one way or another, an advantage towards one of the sides, and it seems like a double break from Slovenia in chest will be giving that much needed, just at least an early advantage towards the team of Ukraine, already getting towards 160k and just ballooning further and further as soon as they are going to be able to just hold on just a little bit more. Chrono 4G will finally trade it off, but it is, oh my god, what has happened? The score advantage just blew up as we are seeing a triple miss coming in from Thailand, only traded by a Max Krona and finally by Roman.
Yep, indeed. That was one of the div spikes of that map. The snap ult in this one is quite harsh and it's punishing. You break one, you're most likely gonna break more and more times. Here comes the big slider. Chrono 4G and Roman do falter, but Color Bryce once again here saving the day for Ukraine, just like on that Prima 2. But the damage has been done way before that. Thailand, another full combo reset, and Ukraine are gonna be skill capping Thailand on this HR3. The strategy worked out perfectly. One of the reasons is that ours actually did not play this one for Thailand, probably not liking that map so much. When you don't have your main carry on the map, it's hard to do anything, and Ukraine just showing the perfect masterclass right here, 3-0.
I have to just give a big shout out because a million score and 98% FC on the Hard Rock 3, I feel like that's incredible. That's not going to be repeated much at all in the stage, I believe, even considering that we are going to be seeing at 2 matches in the losers bracket, but still, wow. Incredible, actually, performance from Thailand as well, 2 S ranks, an average of 500 plus from the side, but unfortunately, that is just barely not enough, and you're facing off against some of the biggest prospect, I would say, in the 4-digit rank range, at least for now. But yeah, it is still only a start. Even with another point going towards Ukraine, it is something that they have picked, so Talent still has some maps to go through to try to bring that momentum back, and I feel like Noma 2 right now is looking mighty crazy for that.
Noma 2. That's an interesting one because
Nomad pool.
Oh no! Oh, the entire
Yeah,
Nomad
yeah,
pool.
yeah.
I misheard. I misheard. All right.
I would even say Nomad 4, honestly.
You would say Nomad 4? I would probably try to double down on Nomad 5. I think that's what I would personally go for, because you saw HD2 ban, and that's a gimmick heavy map. Fremont 2 was another gimmick heavy map, but it doesn't have nearly as much reading as the Nomad 5. It's AR6, a lot of reading overlaps, and overall the density is quite insane, and Ukraine will not be able to go for a hard rock on that one, but seems like you knew something I didn't, because Nomad 4 is indeed getting picked right here.
I mean, it just kind of combines the skill sets that Thailand is kind of excelling on, right? Because it has, first of all, that overall density that will not make anyone completely comfortable unless you are actually practicing this type of maps, right? It has some sliders to get through, some kind of slider aim patterns, and it's always going to be combined with overall accuracy, right? The rhythm challenge that this map is bringing on the strange bar is indeed quite strange to get through, believe it or not. And well, honestly, even in this position, right, I feel like the biggest advantage that Thailand will be having is that your accuracy kind of matters more than your combo, in my opinion, right? Because if you have low accuracy, less than like 92, 90%, who cares if it's one miss or three miss, right? It's more about what you can just continue to get through in the accuracy. That is why 4W2 is a bit more fun this way, and I honestly think that Thailand should be having an advantage of this type of skill set.
Yeah, I totally get it, and accuracy is truly gonna be one of the determining factors. For example, when Taiwan played the map yesterday, they managed to close it out with 2 FCs, and they still lost because mostly the accuracy on those FCs and overall scores wasn't that great as their opponents had. So here, as long as Thailand is quite comfortable with actually hacking the map, considering all the rhythm changes, all the swing-ish, tag-ish patterns that this map has, it's gonna be quite stable on their side. And well, they have Rs for this. Rs is super strong for gimmicks, as well as soft binding that we saw on Fremont 2 previously. So yeah, they do have that good lineup for their finicky the finicky maps, because the players play that, and that's what matters. If they want to get a point, that would be the Nomad 4 here. If it doesn't work out though, 4-0 gonna be looking very, very dire.
Yeah, definitely going to be quite interested to see. It is pretty much like the only place where Thailand can turn the tides around, get the momentum back towards the side, until it is just way too late, and that is why it is pretty much one of the most important maps we are going to be seeing today. As well, we are starting off, and you can already kind of see why the rhythm here is just kind of brutal. A lot of already 80% accuracies across the board. I believe only one or two 90+% accuracies on, especially from some people like Roman and NWD. But unfortunately, even with some misses, it is not going to be mattering that much until they're able to just produce further into the map.
Yeah, well, the map as well, CS 2.8, quite hard to miss if you don't have any issues with rhythm checks. Roman is gonna be the first one to drop the full combo on the side of Team Ukraine, but it's just the very beginning. Here comes the long pattern of 40 nodes, very rhythm heavy. Let's see if anyone gets caught off guard by this one. No, everyone is nailing this one. The accuracies are now quite stable on the side of Team Thailand, so it's gonna give an early advantage to them as we're entering the first KI. More slide direction to go off here. Thailand so far holding quite strongly.
Yeah, and it seems like the score advantage is mirroring that as well, as they are finally in the lead, at least for a little bit, as the score advantage is finally going to be getting a little towards the team on the left as soon as Salvatore is going to find a break because of money. It seems like there was actually a bunch of break along the Salvatore, but that does not matter because the actual miss that has happened still will be giving an advantage towards Ukraine, as we are getting little by little towards the second half, and it seems like yeah, still a little bit undecided.
Ukraine, what are we doing right now? First KI finished, and there is still The 3-way FC and a very solid recovery from Roman. And they do not seem to slow down. That slower section is only gonna give them more advantage to try and run away from that. Second Kai is gonna be slowly approaching us. Here comes a more intense section with sliders, with slider aim again. But ours is the one who finds break. No, it was Banshee one. Never mind, we're getting trolled by Banshee right here. Because this map is quite tricky and we all know it for sure. Ukraine, however, incredibly strong team score. Cooler Bra finally gonna be finding that break, but Thailand needs to see way more.
Yeah, it seems like there's just not enough breaks on the side of Ukraine for Thailand to take an advantage on, and especially is finally as one of the FCs going down, so Vator, together with us, actually it is just not going to be giving them any favors, as Ukraine is still holding double, apologies, not double, but 1.5 FC basically. Roman, an incredible recovery, there's only one miss at the very start of the map, and they are going to be, and it is going to be more than enough to just bring that home, if they are going to be able to hold just for a little bit longer, get through this last KI section with a lot of tech pattern, a lot of sliders, and it seems like that is going to be the case for 100k score advantage. I believe it is not going to be overturned, not so late into this map, and it seems like Thailand is getting caught off guard for the second time in a row here.
Alright, it just seems like, well, no matter what Thailand tries so far, Ukraine can answer that perfectly and get another breakpoint right here, 4-0. No FC on the side of Team Ukraine, but very solid 2.3 million team score that they can be very much proud of. Kulabra holding through that ending section as well. For some reason, Thailand is falling under that pressure, despite being a higher seed, by the way, seed 11, Ukraine is seed 16, and so far, it definitely does not seem like it. Ukraine has the greatest momentum that they could have asked for, and they have even a better choice of picking the next map. So Thailand, after this pick, they will definitely need to reconsider their choices. They tried Frima 2, Antimo did not work. Tech also didn't work, so those two are already not something you want to go into. They will need to think of something really, really different. Well, for Ukraine, the more maps they win, the more breakpoints they get against Thailand, the more opportunities there are, because even that Nomad 4, the advantage was so massive that nothing is stopping Ukraine anymore from picking other tech maps.
Yeah, the only pretty much limitation is that there is only one big, exactly fully tech map, right, on the pool, if with the exception, of course, of the original that we are having in the Hidden 3 slot, but it is Fremont 4 that I'm talking about, right? And honestly, I feel like that might be not a bad way to go for Ukraine here, right? Because again, the overall slider aim is pretty nice, the fact that Thailand would have to just drain their power, right? Just distribute mods across the board might be also working out for them, but we are still seeing a lot of hard rocks on the table, and hard rock 2 seems to be the decision that Ukraine is making.
Yeah, right. That is great logic that I'm pretty sure came up to Ukraine after that Prima 2, after seeing a double hard rock from Colorbra and I believe it was Evil Ballner performing really well there. So now we're seeing HR2, the map where you will need not 2 of those precision hard rock players, but 4 of those. And you could kind of predict what's going to happen to Thailand, considering overall in Primus they do not pick hard rocks. Hard rock is not the mod they want to risk going for. Getting C22, C29 on HR2 in qualifiers, definitely not being their cup of tea right here, but they have to play it. Some people did say though that this Horror 2 feels a bit easier than the previous one from last week, so that might help Thailand, but still, precision is the name of the game. 160 BPM precision aim here. The audio is just, I have no idea what's happening to the audio, but that cannot mean anything good.
Yeah, let's just say that we might be having some slight technical difficulties, but it is how it is. Hopefully, it's not going to be way too bad, at least for the viewers. Well, it's just some
Hello?
crunch, some texture to the music.
That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's not great, but at the very least, it is generally a map to watch. I feel like, right? As you mentioned, it is going to be one of those that are, at least on paper, going to be a bit easier, right? But I feel like at the positions that Ukraine is in, it should be taken them advantage not only because they are generally a little bit more confident, a little bit just more proficient on the hard rock department, right? I feel like they also have the nurse advantage. Because right now, if you are Thailand, you know that this is pretty much one of the maps that you have to take. Right, there's only so much more maps that Ukraine is going to be going for. There's only so much more maps that they can lose, and I am not sure they really wanna spend one of those possible mistakes on the Hard Rock 2 that is generally considered a bit easier than usual. So definitely a bit of a mental warfare going on at the very least. But as we are going to be starting, it is going to be an answer to the question if they are indeed affected.
Yes, indeed. The map was is 1 minute 57 seconds. So, in similar fashion to that HR3, gonna be momentum based. For Ukraine worked out on HR3. Prima 2 also worked out for them. So, favor they should have it, but we did see some miracles happen. If Thailand wants to stay in game, they will need to pull themselves together. But right now, that's the exact opposite of what they're doing. A triple break from the very beginning on one of the low sections of the map. Ukraine, however, the Bastion is holding and it's looking very strong.
Yeah, and we are only a quarter of the map in, and so far it seems like yes, there is only one break coming from the side, trading pretty much 3 from Thailand, and that is more than enough to take at least an early advantage, even with the miss coming in from IMAX at the top left of the side of Ukraine. It is still 180k and increasing score advantage going towards the side, while Thailand is just not able to find any footing. The only 2 people holding at least some kind of resemblance of a combo is Dry Noodle and Chests. By the way, incredible performance so far from Dry Noodle, but it's still not going to be enough. It is a team tournament, it is a team performance that counts, and right now the better team is Ukraine.
Yeah, it just makes sense right here. Ukraine winning the precision map, Paradox something they have an upper hand over Thailand, and they are proving the point. Cooler Brad, Roman, the bottom row of Ukraine is just going absolutely crazy, entering that 6th gear. Just the last quarter of the map is left. It's now not a question of whether Ukraine will win this map, it's just a question of how far can Roman and Cooler Brad can tear this map apart. How far they can push it to the very ending of the map. The outro is here, they're nailing all the awkward jumps. Here come the sliders, more and more jumps, but they do not care. The supports were really respectable from Wild Max and Evil Baller. They find breaks, but it doesn't matter. Roman is here with a break, but Cooler Bra seems like he is the star of the show today, Tommy, and he is unstoppable.
Yeah, it seems like there is a new player on the table to actually perform when he is needed most. The Ukraine is just proving, making a statement after unfortunate lose in the winners bracket against Taiwan, a sweep 6-0. They are showing that it was just an unfortunate situation. It was just a moment's struggle. Right now they are back and better than ever. As Killer Bra is still the only one that is holding an S rank on the Hard Rock 2. But oh my god, honestly, quite a performance. I'm looking forward to what is going to be the next map that I believe Thailand is going to be picking.
I am just so scared for Thailand right now because yeah, it's just one mistake, you're out of the tournament. The nerves might be, yeah, the blood must be rushing through your veins right now. Looking quite grim, but you know, I would still try to go for that Nomad 5 considering AG2 was banned from Ukraine. And yes, Thailand finally goes for this one. AR6 overlaps, density, some rhythm changes as well. It's probably even a more intense gimmick map than the AG2 that it was banned by Ukraine themselves. Of course, some might say that Ukraine will probably have an easier time on this gimmick Nomad 5 than AG2 because it doesn't have that HD put on top of the reading patterns, which does help Ukraine. They do not really fancy the hidden mod at all. Well, yeah, that would make sense, and they have the momentum, so even though that is the last possible, the most most logical pick from Thailand. They will still need to work to get a win.
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, it would have been a little bit more interesting if Thailand was about to go towards the hidden tree that was still open, but well, Nomad 5 is still.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, because I feel like Nomad 5 is a bit more conflict in the sense that Ukraine is still very, very nice on those reading patterns as well. They are able to perform when they really need to, and well, so far we have only gathered more and more proof of that. So this time around, Nomad 5, again, first of all, an AR edit, AR6, incredible map, I believe, map by Tantrix. It is going to be really fun to watch one way or another, right? A lot of just overall density overlaps that you have to get through, and oh my god, I would not, if I didn't see the players before, generally, right, from Thailand and from Ukraine, I would not believe that someone is actually able to get incredible performance in the tournament itself, right, in the tournament setting. But I guess this time around they might just pull something off. I'm really looking forward to some of the performances from people like Salvatore, right, and WD. I believe they have a lot of potential, but oh, that is just so nerve-wracking to watch.
It really is. And, well, unfortunately for Thailand, Coolerbra can play gimmicks. And right now, he's the sharpest tool in the shadow that Ukraine has for that Nomad 5. So, gonna be definitely a fun challenge trying to counter that, especially considering ours is not even in the lobby. The hard hitter of Team Thailand is not gonna be joining us for that Nomad 5. So Thailand will definitely need to sweat blood on this one. The map is quite short as well, so every miss counts, and we're gonna be taken into action right off the bat with those reverse sliders that are quite nasty to hit. Chess and Coolerbra are gonna be finding those breaks, but here come the overlaps. Let's see if anyone breaks on those. So far, everyone is holding strong.
Yeah, not too much trouble it seems for any of the teams. We are going to be seeing, after all, some combo breaks coming in from NWD, but that is not going to be affecting things too much, at least for now, especially as we are going to be seeing pretty much a trade coming in from Chrona for G. Unfortunately, Salvatore is falling closely behind, but Evil Boner is not able to continue to hold that lead long enough for Ukraine to gain some kind of a sizable lead, and with that, Silent will be getting a combo advantage, at least a slight one. It will be just bringing down a little by little, just building the walls that Ukraine would have to jump over soon enough, as we are already halfway through, and it seems like Thailand is trying their best, and it is working out.
Yep, indeed, and the biggest score on Team Ukraine, Hirama did find a break right before the slow section that's only gonna make Thailand look more and more promising on this Nomad 5. Maybe that is the potential of getting that first point on the board. It's just the last KI, that Salt Bunny, the main anchor, the one who's leading the charge. He will need to hold through that. If not, Ukraine, they are still slowly trying to catch up because Coolerbra is right now here as a counter-attack. And here it comes. Thailand, do you have what it takes to bring it all the way to the end? And then at the end, Chess do find breaks. Salt Bunny is here, however, Ukraine is just falling apart one by one. Salt Bunny does find a break, but the damage has been done. Salvatore is gonna prevent anything that Chrono 4G is putting up right now.
Yeah, it seems like the lead that Thailand was able to build in the mid-game was just enough, and the Salvatore pretty much facing off against Chrono G that is only going to be just sweetening the deal, getting that victory towards the side, and finally a point on board against Ukraine, as we are going to be seeing the pretty much last of the gimmick maps left in the pool finished up in a great action, especially as NWD is actually the only one that is holding S rank on the scoreboard, and that's kind of crazy. But yeah, still incredible performance, and finally a point on board for Thailand. Congratulations.
Yeah, also, I'm seeing a double 727 right here on Ukraine's team score. That is definitely an experience to see. But yeah, anyway, for Thailand, I'm quite surprised this didn't get picked before, because they had the potential all this time for this. Well, doesn't matter. They opted into this map and worked out better late than never. Right now, it's still looking quite tricky for them, and I believe you did predict another tech map pick later down the line, Tommy, and that was 3-4. That is exactly what Ukraine is picking right now, Inceptionism. It's more about the slider tech, more slider aim actually. The more traditional tech map compared to Nomad 4, the more standardized one. And considering we already saw Ukraine perform quite well, to say the very least, on that Nomad 4, that 3-4 testing tech a bit better, I would say, as well as the additional difficulty of playing this with mods, which Ukraine also have proven us to have an upper hand on. Definitely looks like a very, very good pick right here.
Yeah, honestly, so far I'm just curious about what is going to be the mod distribution, right? Generally, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing 2 Hiddens and 1 Hard Rock from Thailand. That is quite expected, right? Maybe in some universe you might even see Easy from their front runner gimmick player, but that's, it's just a bit too far-fetched to really be a reality in my opinion. But from the Ukraine, I feel like that is a bit more undecided, right? Because I feel like there is potential to go to Hard Rocks to 1 HT, there is potential to go to HTs 1 Hard Rock. They might go over mode with, like, for example, Hidden Hard Rock, right? But I'm also not sure what they really want to go for, especially in this point of time in the match, right? But they still have the direction, they have all the confidence in the world in their hands, they can pretty much experiment, right? They can try to go for something a bit more hard, right? A bit more diverse, a bit more interesting, and honestly, it would be really fun to even see no mods from the Ukraine this time around.
Yeah, totally get it. Well, in the first place, Thailand does need to survive this 3-4, and it's hard to call anything else. Ukraine, considering all the factors that we have seen so far in this match and overall statistics, this should be a very distinct advantage for Ukraine since the very beginning. And once again, we're not seeing ours for Team Thailand, which is not the bad thing you want to see, but doesn't quite matter. Obviously, no one is picking hard dogs because no one is picking easy because this map is overall quite dense, and playing all those sliders with easy would be one hell of a challenge. So it's going to be, as expected, a double hidden from Thailand because they have more hidden preference players, and a double hidden from Ukraine actually this time. I believe having that more stable scores overall was hidden, not having so many accuracy drops in comparison to the, say, mentioned HR mod. So it's gonna be the battle here. Chrono 4G gonna be playing with no mod. Same for PPKM. Let's see who's more stable in this one. We're entering the first KI soon enough, and we will see the big sliders coming all across the screen. Let's see if they have the juice to keep holding.
Yeah, it seems like that is not going to be, Thailand is not going to be able to hold for all Soft Bunny going down. It seems like the support from his viewers, from his supporters, is just not enough. At the very least, it is going to be traded by Evil Boner, but still, the advantage is a little bit in a stalemate after all. But it seems like after another break, unfortunate one from Evil Boner, it will be enough to bring at least a little bit of a combat rush going towards the team on the right, as long as they're able to just hold on enough, as we are still in the equal playing field. We are on the battlefield and there is no advantages. The equal mode distribution is going to be just showing up who is just a little bit more skilled as a team.
Yeah, however, Chrono 4G and Irma did find a double break right before the end of that first KI, which now allows Thailand to first of all see the advantage. They still have a 3-way FC. The slow section is only going to help them to consolidate the lead, to deploy a safety net that they are already producing right now. 130k. By the end of the slow section, it's going to grow to either 200k or even 300k, and that will be a really, really good advantage that they're looking for, and they know it very well. Everyone keeps holding, those additional 100, 200 combos are very, very important into this map, in this entire match, to get a second point, the first potential break point on board. A chest finds a break on a space burst right here, space stream, but NWD and PPKM are still here. Roman is finding a break, and that is pretty much the final call from Ukraine that they're not gonna be able to compete with Thailand as we're entering the last KI.
Yeah, two FCs, I believe, still holding from Taiwan. Finally, one of them going down. NWD is the only front runner from the side. He's just able enough. They are able to hold down the advance that Corona 4G and Evil Boner was doing towards the side. And with that, the score advantage is just going to be increasing bit by bit. The only question right now is NWD going to be able to just hold down the FC to get that HD1 going for him, for his team, to close it down in the actual incredible fashion, getting the second point on board at the first break point coming from Ukraine. But it seems like that is going to be the case. Incredible again performance from him. What is going on? Just back-to-back incredible performances from NWD specifically.
Yeah, NWD. Finally, Thailand got someone who is able to get the same amount of significance as Cooler Bra was already shown for Ukraine. Maybe that's what they need. 2 points in a row now. They're not done yet. Well, the only question after this, what do you really go for? You were mentioning that HD3, and that will be quite a ballsy, but quite a move that makes sense, I would say. HD3 is the hardest tech map that you have in this pool, and when comparing this one, when comparing HD3 to Fremont 4 and Nomad 4, I would say it's more similar to the Fremont 4 that we just saw at Thailand 1. Thailand 1 that so HD3 will make sense here. It's also a hidden map. Ukraine, not the biggest fans of HD overall. And HD3 being, as many people said, the hardest map in the pool, that would be a good attempt to skill cap Ukraine and get a third point on the board. Whether they decide to go for that or not, it's a different question, because, when the map is incredibly hard for both teams, that is something that becomes quite risky to pick, but at this point, everything is risky.
Yeah, in my opinion right now, as it is going to be again a pick from Thailand, I am really not sure what they want to go for, right? Henry is some kind of an obvious pick, right, to go for, as you mentioned, for the reason that you already said, right? But I feel like something like Nomad 3 might also be one of the ways to go here, right? Be it because they are just generally feeling decently well so far on aim control, right? The tech aspect is also working out for them, so number 3 might be one of the go-to.
Well,
but oh my god!
Well,
That's a power move. That's a power move.
That's a power metal. That's a power metal song right here.
Yeah.
Nomad 2. I believe the first time we're seeing this being opted into. Oh, flow aim. Thailand. All right. That's something I don't expect, but back it. I really like that choice, to be completely honest with you. Flow aim, not something we have seen so far in this matchup. So Thailand is trying to go into a completely new territory right here to explore this one, and I feel like they did manage to catch Ukraine a bit off guard with this pick for sure. And overall, Tommy, I'm just really happy we're seeing this number 2 because we have that map pool feedback channel, a really funny one, where people just send their song tier list, and Nomad 2 for some reason is at the very freaking bottom of almost everyone's list, which I honestly don't understand. It's power metal. It's a happy metal song. Just have fun. Just look at the circles. It's chill.
It just preferences, for example, right? You can like power metal, you can like other good songs, but it is how it is. And at least for now, what is good is that we are going to be seeing it at least once in the stage, so that is pretty nice news for everyone involved, especially for pullers. Big shout out to them, incredible map pool. Pretty much increasing in quality stage after stage. We'll have to see that. But yeah, Nomad 2 Chains of Destiny. If we are going to be ignoring the overall song part, it is just going to be a bit of a interesting map in the way that it is quite normal, right? It is pretty much just 180 BPM space streams. Not much to say to be particular, right? But the overall full aim test is still something that you want to see, right, in your pools. And again, seeing something relatively normal in 4WC this iteration is always fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just something that, well, you something you really need to play if you are feeling quite confident. We did see Thailand finally stabilize in this match on the two last maps. Of course, flow aim. This is where you need your cursor to be at the most steady momentum to be as ever. It is 3 minutes 45 seconds, so name of the battlefield. Number 2 is a quite long one. Thailand definitely needs to have to be in a good moral state, to mental state, to actually win this one. Let's see if they do have it in the pocket so far. And strategical miss from ours, but shouldn't be too shabby right off the bat. Ukraine is also holding though.
I have to say there's a lot of accuracy drops coming in from Thailand right now. It seems like potentially the one big enemy of those comebacks, the adrenaline withdrawal, might be the reason why they are feeling a little bit too shaky right now, a little bit unconfident, as Ukraine is just going to be building the advantage bit by bit, as they are still holding incredible accuracies and full combos throughout all the 4 plays that we are seeing on the table. Finally, it's going to be exchanged for Solbani going together with Chroma 4G off the table, together with Roma, who is holding close behind, but it is still not going to be enough to bring the air over to get an advantage towards the team on the right, towards the team Thailand, but they are absolutely doing all that they can.
Yep, indeed. So far, first KI was almost like bread and butter for Thailand. No breaks whatsoever, and despite the accuracy disadvantage, they're finally gonna flip the score lead to their side. It's now blue, and they will try to stretch it out as much as they can. More and more space streams are here. PPK is finding a break. That's quite tragic. Roman and Evil Bonner are already knocking the door in halfway through the map with a double FC. Thailand will now have to be catching up. Ours is here with a good recovery, but Chess is only 1 FC compared to 2 from Ukraine. The second KI is here. Let's see if Ukraine is gonna send out gifts to Thailand. If we see any breaks from Ukraine that Thailand desperately needs to have.
They are halfway through, and they are still only at 40k advantage towards one of the side. It is pretty much the closest that we can get on this type of number 2, and we are seeing that, witnessing with our own eyes as the Thailand is trying their best, but right now they really need to see some mix coming in from Ukraine, because the overall combo advantage is definitely going towards the side, and as they're getting closer and closer towards the last KI section, last quarter, it will be the last prime position to find those mistakes, to try to capitalize on that, but they need to hold that combo, they need to hold to make them, to use the advantage even if it will appear, but for now it is only going to be a build up. A last quarter is coming, and the last chance to continue that match, the last chance for glory is coming for Thailand.
Yep, indeed, there is no room for error from now on, but Soft Bunny is finding that breaks. One of the support scores is down for Thailand, and the clock is ticking now. Ukraine, they know what's going on. They have that lead now. Thailand desperately needs to see breaks from Ukraine, but Ukraine just on a whole different level. However, there is a combo break from Chrono 4G and no lock from Evil Boulder as well, supported by that. Thailand holding really strongly. Your Chess and ours are still here, still swinging. Jerome is fighting the break. It's just Roman. This is the outro. The last couple of sliders, 80k score advantage. Is there now drain time? Here come more and more stream. Those are really easy ones. The question is whether Thailand will have enough time. They seem to have it in the pockets. The third point is decided. Thailand by the skin of their teeth. It seemed like it's gonna be over and Ukraine would just send them home. But Thailand refused. 5-3, Tommy. What a match.
They're just power stepping through all the odds, getting from 5-0 to 5-3, and looking to advance even further. I cannot even say much. There's only so much maps as they are all going to be so much closer than the previous ones, and that is just incredible. Thailand is really just entering the God's realm right now, just getting into the flow of things, and are able to just capitalize on mistakes, a few ones that Ukraine is making right right now. What an incredible match, and that is why we are watching tournaments in Oslo like that.
Yeah. Uh, and considering this is arguably the first time Noma 2 get picked, I am really happy it turned out to be like that. But we cannot be glazing that map, that rivalry on Noma 2 forever, because Ukraine already has a response, the last ever pick from them. And they decide to go for a DT pool. All DTs have been banned, it's just DT4 they're picking, and this one is a mixed skill set. You have control, you have finger control, some tapping, like it's just the one that has so much density in it that it's honestly hard to predict, Tommy, how this one will turn out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like that is one of the two maps where Ukraine had at least a little bit of an advantage over Thailand from what has been left, right? And pretty much I am basing this TT4 on the performance that we have seen on the Hard Rock 3, right? Because first of all, this TT4, it is an old map, right? Again, the same one as we have seen on the previous pools, right, in this tournament, but still a little bit different, right? Because we are not really going into the realm of high BPM or like high AR type of ult, right, DT ult. We are getting into a little bit of a more density, more reading heavy, try to understand what is going on the screen type of ult, right? And I feel like after the Hard Rock 3, it should be quite similar for Ukraine. They just have, at least on paper, all the skill sets needed to perform greatly. The problem right now is that it is still DT4. It is still something that is quite unusual, something that you have to kind of just pray that it will work out for you, and Thailand seems like they are able to play as well.
Yeah, totally. And at this point, no one holds an edge anymore. We saw this map being very, very merciless yesterday when Poland played against Taiwan. And I believe, Tommy, we actually saw a 6-way FC. It was only one break from each side, and that's how it ended up. Let's see how the lower seeded teams will be able to hold the pressure on this DT4, because you will have a lot of things being thrown at you at once. And it's definitely some challenge that both Ukraine and Thailand really needs to accomplish here. And the map basically doesn't slow down from the very intro that we're seeing right now. So if you have difficulties from now on, you will basically have consistent breaks throughout the entire map. This is how it usually goes. There are 2 breaks from Soft Bunny and Chast, but there is still hope right now. Just the early days. Ukraine with a 4-way FC though, finally willing to try and finish off this match, because Thailand 3 points in a row, you cannot allow them to grow so much momentum. Corner for G, however, finding a break, same for Soft Bunny, but 1max is the big one, Tommy.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be even if it was given some kind of an advantage towards the Thailand, it is not going to be enough now. Double break again from IMAX and Evil Boner, traded only by Soft Money, is actually going to be making the maps even more interesting, as we are going to be heading soon enough towards the second half already. It is a short map, and miss random one from Corona for G on pretty much the slow part of this map is going to be given a much needed advantage towards the Thailand. The combo is just growing bigger and bigger towards the side, and now Ukraine is the one that needs to fight, needs to see that wound open from the side of Thailand.
Yep, indeed, it's still a very, very fragile situation. Thailand, they have the momentum, but do they have the consistency? Seems like they do. Chrono 4G and 1max are gonna be finding the break. Someone in Salvador, however, are trading this one. A double FC versus 1 FC and a support. Ukraine is gonna be losing that fight once again. It's just up to ours and Chest to make the history. And so far, it's just the slow section. That is the outro, the one final stand for Thailand. They need to keep holding through that last section. If they do have it, it's gonna be 5-4, everything that they need. Evil Bowler is finding a break. Roman is once again here with an FC, but 1 FC is not enough, just like on Noma 2. In the same fashion, Thailand are gonna find a 4th point into this match. Tommy, what are we witnessing?
Just now I witnessed 4 slider breaks on the last slider of this map. Was crazy. But what is more crazy is that the Thailand is actually able to perform that comeback going. There's only one more pick, one more just opportunity, one more map before the tiebreaker. The Thailand needs to win, and right now the advantage is that they are deciding which map to go for. And honestly, that is just pretty much absolute cinema. You cannot write the script any better than that.
Yeah,
But
let's just not jinx it right now. Let's
yeah,
just
yeah.
not jinx it.
Well, let's go. Let's hope that it is going to be a fun for viewers first of all, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
we are just enjoying whatever happens. Whatever happens, it is still incredible match that has happened so far. And well, right now I'm just kind of curious what we are going to be seeing as a pick from Taiwan. Because honestly, from their side, that is the most undecided I have been so far.
Yeah. I I just don't know. I don't want to make any guesses at this point. I feel like Tyler just knows better. Like I did, well, no, we did predict a bunch of picks correctly, but right now there is no safe ground, and that's what always happens when you're at such a match score, right? It is 5-4, just the last pick from the last team right here, and well, definitely, I would not expect to see. Wait, actually, if we saw HD3, I would be just over the moon. I'm not gonna lie, Tommy. The only I do have my concern though. They could have already picked that one, but they didn't, which means that they are not so confident in this one. Ukraine still pretty good when it comes to mechanics. The HD is gonna be helping Thailand. I feel like either HD1 or HD3 would be something they could try to gamble on, but gamble on, right? There's nothing stable for either of the teams, and yes, what else could you ever ask for? What more? What else? HD3, glowstone percent. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see an original song made for 4WC being potentially the last map in this match, and that is just beautiful right here.
Yeah, pretty much a fitting last point, fitting last map to go for in this bout as well. As you mentioned, an original for WC. I believe the third one so far in the tournament is to be appearing before us. Of course, as you mentioned, Glowstone Percent by Xavier XD, incredible song, marked by Wispy and Basherman with the GFX from Maniac and Arasion is going to be just something to enjoy, and honestly, just brings me some, as I mentioned before, joy to generally watch this map being played, right? Because again, we have seen some feedback one way or another that map seems to be a bit too hard generally for this pool, right? And there is a reason for that. It is truly a test, truly a test of your whims, of your possibilities, of your basically skill cap, right, on the skill set. So right now,
Yeah.
I feel like the only trouble for Thailand is that Ukraine. It felt like they had just a little bit more of a potential, and on this type of more skill dependent, right, skill demanding, let's put it that way, map, they might be having just a bit too much advantage for Thailand to handle.
There might be, but Tommy, that is kind of a similar thing that we said about 3.4, and we saw how that turned out to be. But yeah, I do see that.
Yeah.
Ukraine overall would say a higher skill cap team. I don't want to be wrong with this one, but that's the picture that I have drawn in my head about Ukraine. Still, even if Ukraine is a higher skill cap team, like there's also Poland. Poland did play this Asia 3 against Taiwan. It was seed 1 team versus seed 8 team, top seeded teams, and both of them only got 1.5, 1.7 million team scores. That is the level of how absurd this map is. It is the hardest one in the pool. And without further ado, everyone who's watching, everyone who has tuned in, you're about to witness potentially the last map of this match. So far, Thailand, they were losing 5-0, managed to get 4 points in a row. And now the one potentially last challenge is left for them. AG3, the hardest map in the pool, obviously, not in the tiebreaker. Doesn't quite matter. AG3 is a challenge and a half. And if they do have what it takes to get a 5th point on board, we will see potentially the most hyped match of 4WC point blank so far.
Let's hope that it is going to be the case. Otherwise, we are finally getting towards the intro, little by little, getting some of that atmosphere in our veins. I'm just looking for some of those shakes that might be happening from both the sides as we are finally getting the last peak of this match, the last incredible song to get through Glowstone percent, as I mentioned before, and we are still getting into the action right now as the KI is starting. The combos are not getting dropped at all. Finally, the first one going down will be NWD, but that is not going to be enough to gain a big advantage over the other team. Only 5k, 8k, 10 barely towards Team Ukraine is advancing. It will be a bit faster as Slot 1 and Acer 3 are going to be finding break after break, but they are, after all, trained by Aroma and Evil Boner. Now it is pretty much a 2v2, 1v2 situation, especially as Killer Bra is going to be finding another break to equalize the score points.
Yeah, but here there's a slow section. Only Roman was in FC against Chaz. That is the duel, that is the spectacle we've been waiting for. Who will hold an edge in this one? We'll find out in the second KI of this map. Both players used to be carries of their countries for once, and Roman is the one who hasn't shined yet in this match, and now he has all the opportunity because Chest is fighting the break right here. Roman halfway through the map, still with an FC, looking forward to try and top score this entire AG3 this weekend. Now, with 98% accuracy, Ukraine is gaining that advantage. Everyone is finding breaks but him. He's the only one who's standing the unsung hero of the story. Halfway through the map, still swinging, still counting.
And it's possibly producing one of the best scores on this map that we are going to be seeing in the stage. Already a 1000 combo in, and it's going only further and further beyond, finally finding the break right before the last third is going to be beginning, before the soul section, but it is still going to be enough to build at least some kind of a wall before the Thailand that they need to overcome. The combo is not looking great for them, only so much, but an explosion coming in from Ukraine, a quadruple miss, a double one from Killer Bra is going to be enough, but there is a triple answer from Thailand. The only one holding this NWD, the one that has found the first break of this map, is the one that is leading in advance towards the Ukraine. But another break is coming, and now it is still an unequal situation. 170k score advantage is something that Thailand is not able to overcome.
Yeah, indeed, it's 170k, 190, 200k is growing out. Chest with a massive note lock right here. Thailand just not being able to catch a grip, to scrap onto any sorts of recoveries right here, and this is the outro. Thailand almost managed to bring it all the way to the tiebreaker, almost a reverse sweep. Very respectable score throughout the match. But Ukraine, at the end, they will be the ones getting the last point on the board. The final word is after them. 6-4 is how this one is gonna end. No tiebreaker, but we were so close, Tommy.
Yeah, we were so close, but yet so far. Thailand, incredible performance, actually just incredible mental fortitude to be able to get a situation from 5-0 back to 5-4, just with pretty much just purely the will to fight for the spot in the tournament. But unfortunately, all things come to end, and with that, Thailand is going to be eliminated from the 4WC. Better luck next time, and I'm hoping to see them perform even better in the future. But for now, big congratulations to our winner, Ukraine. Incredible performance from them as well. No matter the comeback, they were still able to stop it. They were the better team generally today, and well, now after a seed upset, they are just looking to continue their performance and domination into the second match of the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah, indeed. Great showing from both countries, and you already said everything we needed, so I'm just gonna quickly mention the sponsors. Thank you so much, Vima Entertainment, for producing the lovely songs that we have for the tournament for WC. Much appreciation. They're also a multimedia label, so whether you're an aspiring artist, composer, designer, no matter what, they would be grateful to have you on their server if you're interested in exploring some opportunities. I'm gonna quickly drop it in the Twitch chat. So if you are interested in that department, you actually might become part of them if you are willing to. In the meantime, thank you as well so much, Kagami Studios, for making the keypads that we're actually giving away. Same for Slider Pals. We're also giving some stickers in the form of iconic Osu sliders. In our giveaway, you can scroll down a bit and find the image there. You can click on it and participate. And if you would like to win some, if you do not have that, I also have the link for you. So make sure to check it out if you want to get some stuff for free. Free stuff is always cool. But yeah, that is about it, Tommy. We're currently having another match in the second channel, and it's also another match happening in the minute. So we kind of have to sign off for now. But we'll be back really, really soon. So thank you everybody for watching. My name has been Flox, and I was joined by Tommy. The match was streamed by Squidas. This is your 4WC team signing off. Bye bye, and we will see you very, very soon.
Bye bye.